I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact, so I know it can be a bit overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. You'll be fine.
If the last person who worked at your job has to leave recordings for you to assure you that you'll be fine, I'm pretty sure that's a clear indication that you will not be fine.
Well, it's certainly better than you figuring things out for yourself, especially considering how vicious the animatronics are.
Let's see. First, there's an introductory greeting from the company that I'm supposed to read.
Why? You don't work here anymore. Why would an ex-employee be training me through the phone, no less, instead of an active employee?
He may not be an employee now, but at the time of his recording, he is still an employee. The only reason he's doing it through the phone is, well, he's dead.
On discovering that damage or death have occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced, blah blah blah. Now that might sound bad, I know, but there's really nothing to worry about.
I don't know, man. When the introductory clause of the legal documents for my new job is talking about being exempt from any debts, I think I should worry.
Well, what is he supposed to tell you? To panic and run around the pizzeria screaming? Let me know how that goes.
Not to mention, was all this shit not told to me before I took the job? Because I'm pretty sure I'd have to be made aware of this before I even accept.
Very few people actually know about this, and even fewer are able to tell anyone because they end up dead.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night, but do I blame them? No. If I were forced to sing those same stupid songs for 20 years and I never got a bath, I'd probably be a bit irritable at night too.
Yeah, my guy, I get that, but you're making it seem like the animatronics have free will and aren't programmed to do that. And if you know that, does the company know that they're alive? Because, I mean, you probably should have told me that part before I took the job, too.
They don't know about this, and they wouldn't due to everyone dying.
So just be aware, the characters do tend to wander a bit. They're left in some kind of free roaming mode at night.
Why?
Something about their servos locking up if they get turned off for too long.
Okay, we'll just hire an on-site engineer, man. They do perform maintenance on these things, right?
Well, yeah, but if this is what they do for the animatronics, it means they've tried to fix them before and it never worked. Plus, it's not like they know the animatronics are possessed by dead children.
And if they're allowed to roam free, what the f*** do you need a night guard for? What's a thief or a murderer gonna do to them?
The animatronics may be tough, but they aren't invincible, as shown in Fnaf 3.
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe.
Cool, well I totally feel safe working at the night shift.
You being scared isn't a sin in this game. I mean, it is a horror game after all.
They'll most likely see you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on. Now, since that's against the rules here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they'll probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit. Now, that wouldn't be so bad if the suits themselves weren't filled with cross beams, wires, and animatronic devices, especially around the facial area.
Okay, phone guy. Can I call you phone guy? Okay, phone guy? Why are you so f***ing nonchalant about that? And more importantly, how do you know that's what they would do to me?
He's been an employee for a while now, so the animatronics have been trying to do that to him for quite some time.
Also, who was the massive 200 IQ genius that thought to program the animatronics that way? Did they not think, well, that could be dangerous to actual human beings? Even worse, who was the 300 IQ super brain that found out that the animatronics were programmed like that and went, oh yeah, let's just leave them like that?
A serial killer named William Afton, the bastard, and no one living.
So you can imagine how having your head forcefully pressed inside one of those could cause a bit of discomfort.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Your sarcasm does not provide sins.
The only parts of you that would likely see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth that pop out the front of the mask. Yeah, they don't tell you these things when you sign up.
Why? That's a PR scandal and several lawsuits just waiting to happen.
It's hilarious that you just assume the company knows about these things. Let me learn you something. They don't.
Check those cameras and remember to close the doors only if absolutely necessary. Gotta conserve power.
Why do I even have electrical doors? Why not just have regular non-electrical doors? I just boop, lock the door. And if they could break down the doors to try to get to me, why even have windows they could possibly break down too? And you might be thinking, oh, maybe those are bulletproof windows, meaning that they can't break them. Well, then why aren't the doors made out of that material too? I wouldn't even be wasting power.
1. If you look closely, you'll notice that the windows are cracked, meaning they've tried to get through the windows and failed. 2. Even if the doors were made of bulletproof glass, the hinges most certainly wouldn't be, so they just knocked the door off its hinges. And you might say, well, what if they're sliding doors? Well, there's clearly not enough space to make a horizontal sliding door, and the vertical one wouldn't work either, since you'd have to either jump up and pull it down, or lift the heavy door all the way up. Neither of which is practical. At the end of the day, night, the steel electrical doors are your best defense.
Alright, good night.
Have you been talking to me for 2 whole hours? God damn, dude.
Everything wrong with Fnaf 1, ladies and gents. A person can talk for a long time.
If I have to conserve energy, why do I have the goddamn fan on? I'd rather sweat my ass off for 6 hours than be stuffed into a mechanical suit.
Are you sure about that? Because as someone who's worked as a lifeguard for an entire summer, I can tell you sweating for 6 hours without any means of cooling off is damn near impossible.
I won't talk quite as long this time, since Freddy and his friends tend to become more active as the week progresses.
Why? Do the robots have a sense of time and just go, oh boy, 12 a.m. on a Tuesday, that really rustles my jimmies, but not as much as Wednesdays though, then I get really cranky.
Haha, taking difficulty progression at face value, that's super funny. In all seriousness though, the animatronics are just trying harder after every failure. Though speaking personally, they weren't trying hard enough, because on my first playthrough, I made it to night 5 without dying once.
Oh, hey, you're doing great. Most people don't last this long.
What the f*** do you mean most people? How many people do you know have worked this shift? And you took the job anyway?
Well, according to Fnaf 2, he didn't have a choice. The company forced him to replace the previous guard.
I mean, you know, they usually move on to other things by now.
Yeah, no shit, man. If I had a group of killer animatronics trying to make me into one of them, I'd quit too. What am I even still coming back for? Whatever they're paying me is not worth it.
Charriii sends something he agrees with cliche.
Anyway, I better not take up too much of your time. Things start getting real tonight.
What do you mean real? What, were they gonna pretend kill me before?
You know what he means, don't pretend you don't.
Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm gonna try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there. You know. Oh no.
Well, that guy fucking died. Why would corporate let me listen to these recordings? Did they not know they existed? The phone's ringing, so clearly someone's calling. Is the person sending me these recordings not the same person that recorded them? And if that's true, why not just tell me straight up that this place is dangerous?
As one of Fnaf's many mysteries, all we have are theories. If I had to guess, Phone Guy had a friend of his play these recordings over the phone to any new employees.
$120 for that whole week? That's 120 divided by 5 is 24 divided by 6 is $4 an hour? Even in 1984, this would have been grossly underpaid. I was risking my life for 120 bucks?
Fnaf isn't just a horror game. It's a parody horror game, and it's parodying low-paying jobs. The low payment is intentional.
Why? Why would I come back for a 6th night? The name of the game is 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Because 6 Nights at Freddy's doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Plus, full-time jobs normally have you work 5 days a week, with 6 being overtime.
Okay, that was night 6. That better have been worth it. $120.50 of overtime. Never mind the fact that that's completely not worth it. How on earth was this sum of money calculated for my overtime? Don't get me wrong, it's a lot more than any job would pay out, given that I'm only working for 30 hours a week at $4 an hour salary, meaning that my overtime should be 4 times 1.5 is 6, times 6 is 36. $36! I just got paid in a day what I make in a week! Plus an extra 50 cents, meaning I made 120.5 divided by 120 equals 1.0042. 100.42% my regular wage? What an arbitrary-ass number.
First of all, you say never mind the fact, which implies that you're not counting it, yet you sin it anyway. Plus, you're sinning the same thing twice. Second, it's hilarious that you think that this entire check is for 1 day. The previous check was your weekly pay if you didn't do a 6-night. This is your check if you did. So you didn't make $120.50 of overtime. You made 50 cents of overtime.
Okay. I finished 420 mode. Did I get, like, weed or something for that? I got fired for that? For tampering with animatronics. Okay, first off, if I could tamper with the animatronics this whole time, why wouldn't I set them to 0 every night? General unprofessionalism suggests that I wasn't a goddamn master at what I do, which, excuse me, but the fact that I was able to survive your dumbass machines at their highest difficulty suggests otherwise. And odor? You fired me because I smell? Excuse me for shitting my pants every night for the past week. Your robots were trying to kill me.
A, because that's what SMG4's Mario would do, and anyone who watched that video knows how that went. B, the general unprofessionalism they were referring to was you breaking the rule, don't mess with the animatronics. And no, it doesn't matter if they were trying to kill you. And C, they don't know. There is no evidence to suggest they do, so stop assuming. Plus, you could have always taken a shower before coming into work.
$100.50 a week? There better be less of these fuckers than last time for me to even consider this.
Charriii sins the same thing a third time, cliche. Also, there were only 4 animatronics, 5 counting Golden Freddy, in the first game. If you can't handle any more than 4, then play Fnaf 3.
Hello? Hello?
Wait, that's the same guy from the last game. Isn't this game a prequel? Which begs the question, why would you call this Five Nights at Freddy's 2 if it's a prequel?
1. Fnaf 2 being a prequel doesn't mean that phone guy wouldn't be here. After all, he was a previous employee. And 2, it's called Fnaf 2 because it's chronologically the second game. Plus, it's not uncommon to have the numbered entries be prequels. I mean, hell, Devil May Cry 3, Metal Gear Solid 3, and Little Nightmares 2 are all prequels, and 2 of those games have a 3 in their name.
Never mind that, how long has this guy been working for this company? Because clearly he's more than just a night guard if he's leaving recordings for someone in another restaurant.
Well, it's speculated that Fnaf 1 takes place in 1993, and since this game takes place in 1987, it would mean he's been working here for at least 6 years, assuming his death happened not long before Fnaf 1.
They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility, they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? But most importantly, they're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away. Heck, we should be paying them to guard you.
That's exactly what I'm saying! What's the point of having a night guard?
If you agree with something, it's not a sin. Also, he was making a joke. Also, Charriii sins the same thing twice, cliche.
Mainly, he expressed concern that certain characters seem to move around at night and even attempted to get into his office. Now, from what we know, that should be impossible. That restaurant should be the safest place on Earth. So while our engineers don't really have an explanation for this, the working theory is that the robots were never given a proper night mode. So when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room. So then they go try to find where the people are, and in this case, that's your office.
Okay, but you just said there were engineers. Why don't they give the animatronics a proper night mode?
Because that's the working theory. They don't know all the details and probably don't want to take any actions until they know for sure what the problem is.
You see, there may be a minor glitch in the system. Something about robots seeing you as an endoskeleton without its costume on and wanting to stuff you into the suit. So hey, we've given you an empty Freddy Fazbear head. Problem solved. You can put it on any time and leave it on for as long as you want.
Okay, why was I not given this fucking mask in the first game?
Because the first game was in a different location with different animatronics that the company had no idea were trying to kill the night guards.
And even though your flashlight can run out of power, the building cannot. So don't worry about the place going dark. Well, I think that's it. You should be golden.
Get it? 'Cause Golden Freddy?
Sins gains for making puns, yet shamelessly makes puns all the time. You can't eat your cake and have it too.
Question, why in the Zuck do I have to take off my Freddy mask in order to wind up the music box? I mean, I can see pretty well with it on.
If by pretty well you mean my vision is restricted to 2 small eye holes that you can't even see the light switches through, then yeah, you see like a hawk.
Kids these days can't keep their hands to themselves. the staff literally had to put Foxy back together into every shift. Eventually they just stopped trying and left him as some kind of take apart, put back together attraction. Now he's just a mess of parts. I think the employees refer to him as just the Mangle.
So you have engineers, but it was your employees who tried to put Mangle back together?
He said the staff tried to put Mangle back together. The staff includes engineers.
Our guard during the day has reported nothing unusual, and he's on watch from opening till close.
Cool, good for him, but I'm here from close until open, and you said yourself that these things have faulty programming at night. Why would I give a damn about what he says?
Because he's trying to find clues leading to maybe a potential break-in and reprogramming of the animatronics. You can't exactly do that because you're stuck in one room trying to not die.
Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days, I don't know. I want to emphasize, though, that it's really just a precaution. Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. These things happen sometimes.
No, phone guy, they don't. Animatronics don't just bite off a kid's front cerebral lobe sometimes.
He was talking about the investigation. Sure, you know the real cause of it, but the night guard doesn't because he's most likely asleep at home during the day.
Hey, keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, you know.
Then why am I here? If this place is on lockdown due to a police investigation, I'm pretty sure I shouldn't be allowed to be working here.
They're probably just allowing you to finish your work week before everyone is sent home. Let it never be said that they aren't generous with work hours.
Yep, not worth it.
4 times. Surely those sins can be used for other things. And you might be thinking, whoa, he's sending Fnaf 2 for it, not Fnaf 1. Guys, he's sending the first 5 games as a whole, not as individual games.
What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while.
No, phone guy. As a matter of fact, I did not get the memo. The only memo I got was welcome to the family. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here for a 6th night, especially when the place is closed down because a murder happened. And there's no way I couldn't have known that because it would have been all over the news.
Did you happen to get your frontal lobe bitten off? Because phone guy clearly stated on the 5th night that the place was closed due to the investigation. Like I said, you only worked that last night because it was the end of your work week. At least I assume that's the case. You're not supposed to be there for overtime.
We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday.
What the f*** are you talking about? You just said that the place is closed down for a while. Why are we hosting a kid's birthday party when a kid was murdered here?
He means in a different location, you absolute buffoon.
When the place eventually opens again, I'll probably take the night shift myself.
Wait, so what the hell is your position in this company anyway? You're not the day guard. You just said last night that position opened up, but now you're taking my shift as the guard?
Who he was beforehand is the least of Fnaf's many mysteries, and hardly warrants an explanation given that he was only around for 3 games.
I hate to keep bringing this up, but the game keeps doing it and I can't really ignore it. I wasn't even supposed to come in, so why is the company still paying me, overtime or otherwise?
Hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Also, you have no justification for sending the same thing multiple times. If you feel like something deserves multiple sins, then give it multiple sins the first time instead of constantly going back to it, which makes you sound like a broken record.
Not to mention, I'm getting f***ed with this check. 20.1 divided by 6 is $3.35? For a night I wasn't even supposed to come? That's 20% of my regular pay for something the company itself is deeming overtime.
Okay, I'm done with this shit. I can handle you sending the same thing 2 or 3 times. 4 is pushing it, but 5? From now on, you're getting 5 sins every time you send the same thing 5 or more times. Per instance.
New animatronics will be scrapped due to possible malfunctions. However, the original characters are being kept in hopes of a possible reorganization of the company. But those models were malfunctioning too! Wouldn't it cost more to restore the current animatronics, which have already malfunctioned twice, than it would to just commission new machines that they'd have to reprogram anyway?
They only knew about the toy animatronics malfunctioning. The only one who knew about the older ones that were supposedly deactivated was Phone Guy. Also, even if they knew about it, this is technically the first time they tried to kill someone. The reason they were rejected was because they were deemed too scary for kids, which I don't understand at all.
Notice of termination, employee number 3, Fritz Smith, to note, first day on the job, really? Well, it's not my goddamn fault you're hiring a night guard when you're supposed to be closed.
They didn't hire you to work a 7th night. You went in there of your own free will, and this is your punishment for it.
Though that does beg the question, how would I know and why would I tamper with the animatronics on the first day?
Because you were too curious for your own good.
Hey, glad you came back for another night.
What the hell do you mean another night? This is night 1.
Night 1 of another week. He's worked here before.
Then over to your far left, you can flip up your maintenance panel. You know, use this to reboot any systems that may go offline. In trying to make the place feel vintage, we may have overdone it a bit. Some of this equipment is barely functional.
Cool, well this is another lawsuit just waiting to happen, and it's not even the same company who's in charge. Is that part of the vintage authenticity phone, dude?
How can you not tell when someone is joking? And don't you even try to turn that phrase on me, because Charriii is being serious with roughly 85% of his sins. And whenever he does joke, I acknowledge it as such.
And if you let that ventilation go offline, then you'll start seeing some crazy stuff, man. Keep that air flowing.
Unless the vent's malfunctioning means that they're gonna emit some sort of gas, I should be fine. I mean, I have a fan in here, so air is always flowing.
One tiny little fan isn't going to be enough. If it were a ceiling fan, sure, but not a small fan like that.
Hey man, okay, I have some awesome news for you. First of all, we found some vintage audio training cassettes. Dude, these are like prehistoric. I think they were like training tapes for like other employees or something like that.
You just called them training cassettes. What do you think you mean they're training tapes? You know they're training tapes.
Wait, what was that?
What do you think you mean they're training tapes?
One more time.
Think you mean...
Think you mean?
Think you mean... Think you mean...
Turning the crank will recoil and compress the animatronic parts around the sides of the suit, providing room to climb inside. Please make sure the spring locks are fastened tight to ensure the animatronic devices remain fixed. We will cover this in more detail in tomorrow's session. Remember to smile. You are the face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Why would you not have any of that as a visual training tape, given that they need to know how the spring locks work? And if you were going to show them in person, what's the point of a tape? And why would you segment the training? Why wouldn't you teach them everything they need to know before they put on these potentially life-threatening suits?
Because they probably were going to be shown in person. It's to remind them how the suits work in case they forgot. And they might not have the time.
It may take a few moments to position your head and torso between these parts in a manner where you can move and speak. Try not to nudge or press against any of the spring locks inside the suit. Do not touch the spring locks at any time. Do not breathe on the spring locks, as moisture may loosen them and cause them to break loose.
It sounds like this suit is hella sensitive, so why would anyone volunteer to wear it for their job? And if they double as an animatronic, why wouldn't you just use it as one?
Because the people at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza are idiots. Except for Henry. He's the only intelligent one.
There's been a slight change of company policy concerning use of the suit. Don't. After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the suit temporarily unfit for employees.
No, really? The murder suits that you know easily malfunction and destroy people's bodies were deemed unfit for employees by the company? Only after they killed someone in a sister location? How has this entire company not gone bankrupt with all the lawsuits they should have received? Those are the only suits these employees should have worn.
Charriii sends the same thing twice, cliche. You know, I think we've exceeded the amount the No More Heroes video had.
This is just a reminder of company policy concerning the safe room. The safe room is reserved for equipment and or other property not being currently used and as a backup safety location for employees only. This is not a break room. It should not be considered a place for employees to hide and or congregate.
But you just said it was a safety room and that it is, in fact, a safety location for employees only. Where the hell else would employees hide? Unless you mean during work hours and when there's no danger in the establishment, otherwise what's the point of having a safety location for employees only when the employees can't hide in it?
Charriii answers himself, cliche.
What did William Afton seriously think would happen when going into the Spring Bonnie suit? I know this is a series with robot-human hybrids and animatronics powered by human souls and everything, but a metal rabbit suit isn't gonna save you from 5 ghost children that you killed.
It's almost like he's not thinking straight due to fear.
Fazbear's fright burns to the ground. Very little was found at the scene. The few items that were salvaged will be sold at public auction. But why? Didn't the dude running Fazbear Fright have insurance? Don't those items technically belong to him?
Well, if they're being sold, he either didn't or the auction is run by him.
I know this is all happening in this kid's head and that the nightmare animatronics aren't real, but how does him closing the closet make his mind think that Nightmare Foxy's gonna back off? In that case, why doesn't he confront the other nightmare animatronics too? What are they gonna do? They're afraid to come near him if he so much as peeks outside his door.
They're afraid to come near him if he so much as peeks outside his door. Is that a fact now?
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through. Ah, fuck! What the fuck? Oh! Oh! It's
Cool, so on top of tormenting your little brother all week leading up to his birthday, possibly even longer considering how much of an asshole you are, you not only subject him to psychological torment by forcing him to get close to an animatronic he was clearly terrified of and are pretty much a second-degree murderer now, at the very least guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Okay, enough. This goes on for way too long. I was going to remove a sin for you being absolutely right, but since you decided to go on this needlessly long tangent, and the fact that Michael regrets what he did, given that he's trying to save his sister Elizabeth in Sister Location, and he might show up in security race as the one possessing Glamrock Freddy who protects Gregory, assuming we even get the game at all, I'm going to give you a sin instead.
Oh, what's in the box?
Nothing.
Please enter your name as seen above the keypad. This cannot be changed later. It seems that you had some trouble with the keypad. I see what you were trying to type, and I will auto-correct it for you. One moment. Welcome, Eggs Benedict.
How could that possibly be what I was trying to type when there's no B in Mike, Michael, or your keypad?
The keypad not working is the running gag of Sister Location. It's played up for laughs.
Looks like Funtime Foxy is in perfect working order. Great job. In front of you is another vent shaft. Crawl through it to reach the Circus Gallery control module.
What am I, fucking Solid Snake? Why don't you have me go through a door like a normal person instead of through the vents?
Because it's quicker and a lot safer.
Using the keypad below, please select a new companion voice. It seems that you had some trouble with the keypad. I see what you were trying to type, and I will auto-correct it for you. Thank you for choosing Angsty Teen.
Why is that even an option? Nobody wants to hear that. I mean, hearing that voice is like the death of a loved one, or taxes. You know they're coming, but you don't want it.
Well, someone might choose it. It's good to have variety.
There seems to be a power malfunction that is affecting our ability to properly motivate Baby. Please stand by while I reboot the system. I will be offline momentarily during this process. Various other systems may be offline as well, such as security doors, vent locks, and oxygen.
Why will there be no oxygen?
Commencing system
Why does this
restart.
underground facility not natively have oxygen? Is it pressurized? Why would it be pressurized? How deep underground are we?
Charriii just asked, why is there no oxygen underground?
How are we holding this back? The only conceivable way for us to do that would be to put our fingers through those holes in the metal screen, and I'm positive the Biddy Bob would have used that to their advantage.
Just because the animatronics are sentient doesn't mean they're smart.
It is recommended that you stay low to the ground and reach the other side as fast as possible as to not disturb Ballora. I will deactivate myself momentarily as to not create an auditory disturbance. Deactivating.
Won't she have heard what you were saying? Do you only play audio depending on the room I'm in? How do you know what room I'm in?
No, she didn't. Yes, he does. And who gives a shit?
It seems you are taking a long time. Please proceed as quickly and as quietly as possible.
Well, you try to do this while on your stomach and trying to be quiet. Dumbass disembodied voice.
Well, he did say to be quick. Also, you're not on your stomach. You're walking while crouched.
As the sun sets, so also does another chapter in the saga of love lost between Vlad and his distressed mistress. Can they be reconciled? Can their love rise again? That and more, happening now.
Clara, the baby isn't mine.
It is, Vlad. They had trouble catching him in the nursery today.
So what? Lots of kids get hyper and run around and stuff.
They had to knock him out of the air with a broom.
I have to go.
They're going to dock your paychecks.
They can't do that. I'm a vampire. I don't get paychecks.
You work the graveyard shift at the Fry Me Taco. Don't lie to me.
Oh, the humanity! When will the heartbreak end? When will these two ships passing in the night rekindle their long-lost love? Tune in tomorrow to find out.
Damn, this is the shortest show ever. I've taken pee breaks longer than this show.
It's a show within an indie game. What do you expect?
Now that your elevator experience has been customized to your needs and you're thoroughly relaxed, it's worth mentioning that due to your lackluster performance yesterday, your pay has been decreased by a substantial amount.
I'm getting
Please
paid?
enjoy the rest of
By
your
who?
descent.
Who's my contractor? I thought it was Michael Afton down here to look for my sister.
You are. Michael got down here by taking the job. Guess he wanted to do it legally.
Also, fuck you, I did a lackluster performance yesterday. You were the one doing troubleshooting, then had to reboot unsuccessfully, mind you, forcing me to go through the Ballora gallery and back just so I could manually restart the systems. That's not even why I was originally here yesterday.
He was obviously referring to you taking a bit in the Ballora gallery and the breaker room. Sure, you were trying to stay alive, but it's not his fault that the souls in the animatronics are vicious killers that kill anyone they see regardless of if they didn't cause them any harm while they were still alive. Now that I think about it, those kids are no better than William.
Due to unforeseen malfunctions from today's shows, your nightly duties will require you to perform maintenance that you may or may not be skilled enough to perform. It became necessary for technicians to attempt to disconnect Funtime Freddy's power module. However, they were unsuccessful. Allowing them to try again would be an inefficient path forward, as we would need to allow 6 to 8 weeks for recovery and physical therapy.
So that
You will
responsibility
need to
falls
reach
on
the parts
me
and
for
service
some
room
reason?
on the other side of
Would I
Funtime
not require that
Auditorium
amount of
to
time?
perform-
No, because you can do it overnight.
Great. It looks like everything is as it should be in Funtime Auditorium. There is no need to check on Baby tonight. Please refrain from entering unauthorized areas.
Or what?
Proceed directly
I've been
to
here
Funtime
2 nights and I haven't
Auditorium.
been able to trust you once. What are you gonna do, reduce my pay that I didn't even know I was getting again? Sick the animatronics on me? You don't even know when they are or aren't on stage. Bitch-ass voice.
Someone wants to get fired right away. I mean, I don't blame you, but Michael's on a mission and he's not leaving until he accomplishes it.
Okay, so the mini arenas just let me go, Baby let me go, I got out of the spring lot suit safely, all that?
Yes, you got out safely. Also a missed opportunity to complain about how much of a bitch the 4th night is to finish.
Some of the most valued qualities that we like to see in new employees are determination, fearlessness, and a genuine disregard for instinctive self-preservation. You've earned your 1-week bonus, which will be given to you in the form of a delightful gift basket, the cost of which will be taken out of your next paycheck.
Cool, so not
These
only am I
gift
getting
baskets
paid, but
containing
the
fruit,
company's
nuts,
using my money to
flowers, and of
quote-unquote
course,
buy
the
me stuff.
ever-popular cash basket.
Sounds just like my last
Using
MCN.
the keypad below.
Got him.
Yes, you're hilarious. But seriously, you still don't get the parody this series is going for?
You are the dumbest smart person I have ever met in my life.
We have gift baskets containing fruit, nuts, flowers, and of course the ever-popular cash basket. Using the keypad below, please enter the first few letters of the gift basket you would like to receive. It seems you had some trouble with the keypad. I see what you were trying to type, and I will auto-correct it for you. Thank you for selecting Exotic Butters.
Never mind the fact that I couldn't have possibly typed that because there's no B on your keypad. I didn't even know that was an option.
You gonna tell us why that's a sin, or are you just gonna say that and expect us to roll with it?
Also, what
Please be
exactly
aware
makes
that
them
there are still 2 technicians
exotic?
on site today.
What is it, like using
Try to
milk from an
avoid
endangered
interfering
Bermudan cow or
with their
something?
work.
Nobody cares.
Please be aware that there are still 2 technicians on site today. Try to avoid interfering with their work if possible. Also, feel free to ask them why they are still there and encourage them to go home.
Why can't you do that yourself? Am I the only person you talk to? Not to mention, if they're down here this late, I'm sure the Funtime animatronics got to them already. I'm not gonna step on their turf.
He doesn't know that the animatronics killed them, and yes, you are the only person he talks to.
Is that fucking Rick Astley?
Charriii points out things on the screen cliche.
It seems that you have accidentally wandered into a restricted area. Due to the sensitive nature of the materials that you may be exposed to here, you will not be allowed to leave until the cleanup crew arrives at 6 a.m. So hang tight. Rest assured that you will be promptly rescued, fired, then sent home. Thank you for being an employee. We hope that your experience has not been as regrettable as ours.
I'm sorry, but what the hell was I supposed to do? The real ending ends with me getting my innard scooped out and replaced by Ennard. Is that what you wanted, you fuckboy voice? Huh?
Okay, it's no longer funny that you just assume that he knows what's going to happen to you. Now it's just annoying.
You burned down my house?
You call that a house? It was like a morgue in there.
I may be undead, but you're heartless.
You need to see your son.
The baby isn't mine.
He ate the cat.
Sounds like something he got from your side of the family.
Well, how's this? I'm keeping the diamond ring.
The joke's on you. I found it in a kid's meal.
You bought a kid's meal? Oh, Vlad!
I presume he got the kids' meal and therefore the ring before you had the kid. And even if that's not true, that still doesn't mean he got the kids' meal for the baby.
Taking jokes at face value doesn't make you funny. Not all the time, at least.
You came home with us? Why wait until night 5 to do that? You could have done that literally any other night. Hell, you could have just taken my body on night 3 or 4 when baby kidnapped me.
No, he couldn't have. Ennard is made from the endoskeletons of every single animatronic. He wasn't even built until night 5, you filthy liar.
As cool as these cutscenes are, having to unlock them one by playing the very hard modes is exhausting.
So, I know I mentioned earlier that night 4 is super hard, but that's a mandatory night. These are optional challenges that test your skill at Fnaf survival. Plus, most people agree that the rewards are worth it.
Similarly, this cutscene is great too, but fuck man, you have to beat Golden Freddy mode, meaning all animatronics on the highest setting. That's just cool, dude.
I mean, it makes sense. The hardest challenge unlocks the best cutscene. Seems fair to me. Hey everyone, Tony Sonic here. Thanks for watching the video, and as always, I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Five Nights at Freddy's. One of many critically acclaimed indie games. Quite the legacy it has too, despite it only being around for like 7 years at this point. Though if I'm being honest, the only reason it's so enticing for everyone is most likely the lore surrounding these games. And that's not to say the games are bad, the gameplay themselves is pretty good, but honestly, when compared to the lore, it's really nothing special. But on a more important note, I noticed that very recently, at the time of recording this channel actually broke 100 subs. Well, you know, I've actually been anticipating this for a while now, ever since I hit the 90s, but still, the fact that 100 people on the internet look at my content and say, yeah, I really like this guy. I think I'll subscribe to him. It really makes me happy. Thank you all so very much for participating in the next step for me in becoming, hopefully, a decent-sized YouTuber. Now, as for my next video, it's going to be the last horror-themed video of the month, though it won't be my 100 subscriber special. That's actually going to be a series of videos I'm doing in November. It'll be good when it comes, so be on the lookout for that. I'll announce it at the end of the next video, which will be quite the scary show. You'll see.